Brass one. What a move! Stunning! One sec.
Is this the those little boxes that need to be ticked?
Yeah.
Yep.
One sec.
Won't be long.
Got sound now. Okay.
Beautiful. We're back.
We're back. Okay, so
we're back.
We know what it is. All right, that's good. Can you hear me now? Are we loud? We live? We free? Can hear you, Claude? What? Can you hear me? I'm not worried about
can we hear
Claude.
Ghost? It's no good hearing me if we can't hear Ghost. Should be fine, I reckon. Yeah.
Loud and clear. Okay. Well, may as well start that again. So, welcome everyone to the Microsector. Yeah, we are professionals here at Sector 1, as you can see. So, joining me in the box is Claude. Hi, Claude. Introduce Claude. You
G'day, mate.
Yep, all good.
Good to speak to you, mate. How are you? How are you?
I'm well.
Good, mate. That's good.
And our special guests this evening are the one and only ScottyG from CP.
G'day guys, how are you?
Scotty, mate. Times 2.
And of
Ready to
course, the man who is returning for next season, the one and only Shizer.
Yes.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Good, mate. Good. Good to speak to you.
Yeah, on the comeback trail.
That's it. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So this evening we are going to go through last week or Sunday, which was a fantastic way to end the Group A season. We did crown 2 champions as well, which was very exciting. We'll do a quick preview for Saturday night, which will be the last race for this season as well. So really excited about that. Then we're going to dive into the big news that broke today about the Gen 3 supercar. We're going to have a quick chat and discussion with you guys about that as well. Then we're going to dive into the den of debate, the crypt of conversation. That is why Bathurst is one race that makes us so emotional. And then our top 5s are going to be our top 5 Bathurst moments. And I can tell you right now, I've seen 2 of them, and one of them is not what you expect, which is really cool. Here it comes. CP the world. CP. Yeah, all right. You've got a minute. Get it all out. Come on. Get it out.
Yeah, we painted the green room a CP blue.
Glad they're all here to listen. Well done, boys.
I'm surprised it's not plastered all over Fox Sports. Make sure you join the Microsector because CP's on. Filthy says...
You speak too early.
Filthy says black light for life. Wow, he's turned quick, hasn't he?
Mate, only as long as they pay him, you know. It's next season, who knows it'll be.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into Sunday night. So we did crown 2 champions. It was a fantastic. Both races were absolutely awesome. It really did go down to the wire in BMW land and also in S1 GT land. We might start off with the BMWs, and there are our final championship points. And it was D-Flow did take the title with 220 points from Karen. They absolutely went hammer and tom at each other, which was really good. Karen got the early lead, but D-Flow was just that little bit too quick, and is a very well-deserved champion. But Karen can definitely hold his head up high. He's had a fantastic season, and same as Maverick as well. Did we catch the race, gentlemen? Oh, Scotty, you were racing.
Did.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I was racing, but I think, look, at the end of the day, we knew D-Flow was the man to beat, but just like you said, Sean, I thought, oh, mate, Karen there put up an awesome fight, made a championship of it. Could have been quite a boring thing without him around, but he definitely made it interesting for the entirety of the season. Finished 8 points behind. That's nothing. We know D-Flow may have had an engine failure or something like that during season, which would have affected the number of points he's finished up on. But fantastic championship. But the best guy won here, and clearly so. I believe he now moves on into more strenuous duties from here into next season.
Yeah, so D-Flow, Karen and Maverick all move up into Ferrari land, and D-Flow has decided, well, you know, I'm champion, I may as well run a team as well. So
there we go. Good on you, mate. That's what we want. Guys sort of really getting sort of stuck into it, and team leading, team ownership is a big step forward. So congratulations on the championship, and good luck going forwards.
I just want to give a shout out to a couple of other drivers as well. I thought for my actual MVP for the season goes to Shansky. I thought he drove a magnificent season, considering he is on a DS4 against all these guys on the wheel, for one. Also, he was always up the pointy end, and it was weird actually when he announced he's not driving next season. He got quicker.
Yeah, the pressure off the shoulders, maybe, you know, knowing that it would have had to have some sort of a psychological difference, and freed him up. And I was at the wrong end of a couple of his fantastic driving moves, and he definitely showed improvement from his past seasons. Shout out to Prusky, mate. It's all good. It's all good, mate. It's all good. I'll get even with you next season. Don't you worry.
Love it.
No, but that was I think an apt finish to what had been an extremely competitive season all the way through.
Yeah, and next season's looking like it's going to be even more ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely looking forward to coming back. Shizer, you keen?
Mate, I am keen. I'm happy to see D-Flow and Karen and Maverick move on. I raced Maverick in the Porsches when we ran the Porsche series, and mate, he's got talent. I mean, he deserves to be up in S1 in GT land. Karen the same, and I watched D-Flow this season in the BMW, and he's just leaps and bounds on everybody else. So I'm glad to see the back of these guys, to be quite honest, making a comeback.
So I guess that
sad to see Shansky go though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys. I think he just might have a season off, and he'll be back bigger and stronger. So based on that points table, does that put NASCAR in the driver's seat for the championship next season?
Yeah, well, he's going to be at the pointy end. Now, I don't know if it's been disclosed yet. I better shut up. So, nothing else to say at this stage.
Oh, okay. Cool. Fair enough.
But yeah, no, that will put NASCAR right up the pointy end of BMW next season, along with Shizer, who's with us here now. But an opportunity for a few of the other guys in there who showed plenty this season. You know, there's plenty of... I don't know, is VF racing on next season?
Yep, so...
showed glimpses.
VF's racing, Superfly's racing, the Bad Docs racing.
Datsun, yeah. It's...
And don't forget, we got the guys in Group B that are stepping up to A. So we got HTM...
Stepping up as well.
We got HTM Sean. I know he's stepping up. Shizer will be racing Group A next season, so...
Ugh. Exciting, exciting.
Very exciting.
The driving talent in BMW now is just out of control.
It is.
Everybody has just stepped up so much. Watching people like Janwell this season after the Porsches, and watching VF this season after the Porsches, they've just gone up a level.
Well, I think it's just safe to say that season on season, it's always been an increase in both the talent, if you want to put it that way, and the speed. It's always been in an upwards motion. Nothing slowed down, that's for sure. The groups just keep getting faster and faster and faster, and that's what it is. That's what happens. You get guys improving and new guys coming in, and it makes it tough for the original boys, who I think most of us now are down in BMW B.
Moff says just push them all up to BMW A.
Yeah.
So with that, because we are on BMW, I may as well do it now. I can officially announce I'm back. So
He's back.
I'll be racing next season, and I'll be in the BMW, and I'll be in Group B.
Mm-hmm.
So looking for, I won't announce where I'm driving, just because that's not my place.
How awesome would it be if I just made a mission to take you out every week?
You got to catch me
and then
first.
we had to do micros. Then we had to do microsect, mate. I can go a lap down.
But yeah,
Mate, microsect. It's nice and interesting.
But it was sort of, I was toing and froing, but I decided to look for the last season on the PS4.
Need to be done.
Yeah, I thought let's get on the Fanatec and with the new performance kit as well. So I found some speed.
Cheating.
So very excited for that. So moving on to GT, and boy oh boy, wasn't this a beauty! Wowee! Besides Lucas, Germana's and my maths getting completely all over the shop, this was a rips. This was an absolute rip snorter. VLX and DB absolutely threw the kitchen sink at each other, but it was VLX in the end. That fastest lap proved to be very crucial taking the championship by 1 point from DB
Wow.
007. And I have no problem
Fantastic.
saying this is the best championship fight that I've called and streamed. It was an absolute beauty. It went all the way to pretty much the last couple of laps. It was still a little bit in the air there. So both guys really well done. Fantastic effort. Hijacker can definitely hold his head up high. Finishing in third, I thought he had a magnificent season. Just
Incredible.
doing the classic hijacker stuff, really flying under the radar, and then you're like, oh, well, that's where he is.
Yep.
Nux in fourth, very well done in a grossly underpowered car. So he done a fantastic season. Brocky finished in fifth. That is not a typo, but we do know Mr. Four-Time will be back.
Solid season.
So
Not Brocky standard. I mean, we know what we've come to expect from Brocky, but solid season nonetheless.
and since we do have Scotty in here, we might ask him about his season. So,
I was a bit nervous running with the big boys. It's a big jump, and there's a lot of class in that field. And I had no high hopes of getting any podiums or anything like that, but just hope to increase my racecraft and just improve in general. And it's working. I put together some of my best races that I have in S1. Even though it was at the back of the pack, I was doing my best driving, so I'm still very happy with that.
When you say your best driving, what particular aspects are you sort of thinking of where the improvement? Is it just overall speed? Is it a mental thing, concentration?
Yeah, a bit of a combination of all of it. Like the consistency is a huge thing. Watching some of the freaks up the front and the times they can run lap after lap after lap has definitely been the goal. And to be getting close to the times or closer to the times, like I've always had Brocky as my benchmark. I've always set it as a benchmark, and now with him as a teammate, that makes it all the more of a challenge. And to be getting closer and closer to him is very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Fantastic learning opportunity having somebody like Brocky as your teammate, obviously. But other than Brocky, was there anybody in the field you sort of pinpointed as a guy you wanted to, compete with and possibly better at any opportunity?
To be honest, I really enjoyed racing with Lucky and Gaz, V8. The racing that we did have when we were on the road together was so clean, so respectful, and exactly what you hope for in any kind of motorsport. And yeah, they were real gentleman drivers, and it was a pleasure to race with them.
Well, let me be the first to say, I think your effort to stay in the top group this season's sort of been a little bit gone a little bit unnoticed, but fantastic effort all season long to be, as you say, consistent as you have been, mate. You've done our team proud, and happy again to have you on board next season.
Yeah,
down at CP Land, and yeah, well done.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Mate, love to hear it.
God.
Somebody give Sean a bucket. Give him a bag.
While we are sort of going through GT, I just want to give a really special shout out to Gaz. Gaz is leaving us for next season. He will be around.
Yep.
Poor guy, he's going through a bit of a rough time at the moment, and it just reiterates that point. If you are having a bit of struggles and that, guys, please reach out to any one of us. We're all happy to talk, and that the Black Dog doesn't discriminate. I'm going through it myself, so I've lucky enough to meet Gaz as well. He's an absolute ripping bloke. He will be very sorely missed on the grid. His Bathurst races are the stuff of legend. So big thumbs up to Gaz, mate, and we hope to see you on the grid very, very soon.
Absolutely. One of the original boys who I think there's a bit of a common theme sort of coming through with some of the guys that have been around for that length of time. It's sort of a little bit of a break. Some of the guys are retiring, others not, but some are. But as you say, Sean, Gaz is the master, the king of the mountain in our circles. And also worth remembering too that this all started, this Sector 1 and whatever it was prior, it all started around a group of guys that were looking to, lend support to each other when times were getting tough, and we are in tough times at the moment, as we all know, going through these COVID periods and lack of work and stuff. And it's just, again, important to reiterate, even though we get pretty competitive with all the racing side of things, that the reality of it is that we're just here to have a chat with each other when time needs. Feel free to approach, guys. It's well worth doing sometimes, and good to know that other people have similar issues to what we all might be going through.
Definitely.
Yeah, the support within S1 is overwhelming. Being on the receiving end of it from a lot of the racing community, it is very overwhelming. And I'd like to thank everyone who's contacted me over the past few months as well, after I've gone through all my little dramas. It's an ongoing thing, but I really miss the camaraderie within S1, and that's what's dragging me back in again.
Well, mate, it's a worthwhile distraction, isn't it? It sort of can help shift the headspace a little bit.
Just the way you said that, though, it reminded me of The Godfather. Just when you think you're out, they drag you back in.
They drag me back in. Well, again, just on Gaz there, mate, I'm hoping that we do see him around and that he's back soon, better than ever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Hijacker's just tuning in. Hi, Hijacker. We talked about you, so you're too late.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it.
So, just to finish off with GT, S1 GT there. So, all these guys now, you can put all the excuses in the bin because you've got none anymore. So, they'll all be driving the same car next season. So, your BOP and this fuel saves more than that fuel saves, and this uses tyres. And nope.
Sorry, just before we go to BOP, sorry, Sean, to interrupt, mate.
That's all right, mate.
I just thought it'd be worthwhile reiterating VLX's effort to take out the championship. Young fella is something that's really worth noting up against incredibly tough opposition. DB's a gun. You put DB in any car, he's incredibly quick, and so is VLX. And the fact of the matter is that there were 3 other GTR cars in this field, and none of them were able to beat a DB except for GLX. So, congratulations to him in taking out. Is this the first time he's competed with us?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Hell of a debut.
Massive debut. I feel
Hell of a debut.
A bit of a close affection with VLX because I was proud enough to put the number 1 on his car for next season. So the number 1 is back, which is fantastic.
Along with that number 1 comes a massive size target, though.
It does. It does.
And that target's going to be sitting on both of the side doors and one on the rear end for the entirety of the next season. And it does have something going on, as Brocky would let you know, is the carry of the champ. It's one thing to win him, it's another one to hang on to him. So let's see how he goes next season. I'm sure he'll do well.
Yeah, back-to-back champs are pretty rare in Sector 1. There's not many of us. You walked into that one. Yeah, huge season and force performance. Haven't they just, what a team. Like, just rocked up with their pink cars, and let's be honest, we all could have sort of looked at them and laughed a little bit at the start of the season. Yeah, we're the ones not laughing now.
That's exactly right.
So
yep, they served us all up. In the end, this new team just come in and said we're here to win, and that's exactly what they've done. Now it's up to the rest of us to close that gap and figure out a way how to put the pink cars behind us.
So the team's championship, we're going to cover that off next week on next week's season review Microsector, just because I wanted to let the Group B race play out first. And speaking of that, we could probably go on to a little preview of this weekend. So, of course, it is Saturday night. We are racing, so looking forward to that. It is our last stream for the season in terms of racing. So I'm sure there's quite a few guys that just want to get out there and rip up a win. No championships to worry about. So I've got a feeling Group B might live up to its reputation on the weekend. I've just got this gut feeling that it is going to be Stamp and Send City.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they prove you wrong. Hopefully they put on a display which has us all sort of feeling, if that's the standard that B has, well then amazing. I'm sure they can produce it, but like you say, it might be a bit relaxed.
Yeah. Well, Karen's already put it out there. He put it out there on the stream on Sunday and said that Morgan's going to walk the field. Those was,
Right.
I quote, walk the field in the Group B race.
That's something that would come from Karen.
Yeah. Classic Karen putting his foot right in it.
Have they checked the fuel gauge in the Lexus?
Yeah.
How's he going to hit everyone if he starts from the front?
Well, Alex says La Source will be interesting. Well, it's interesting you say that, La Source. I always thought Les Combes is the one where the real drama happens. Because everyone seems to not bottle up at La Source. They're very sort of cruisy through there and that. Then they go through Eau Rouge and Radion. And then once they hit the Camel Straight, it just seems something switches in people's brains. And they go, okay, let's go 4 wide. Why not? Because that always works. We saw it. The Group A race was a great example of that. There was a couple of times when they were 4 wide, and I'm sort of sitting there watching it, going, "Oh boy, here we go!" But they worked it out, which is a credit to them. So definitely. I'm just having a look here. Jimmy says Artie is ready to thump. Yeah, he's fast. Make no mistake, he's quick. So the Group B BMW race, well, I think that's a bit of a... I think Sean will be the red-hot favourite, make no mistake. But other than the battle for the next podium positions, throw some names in the air and see what happens. I think that's the way it's going to be. The Moth. Oh, Shizer's gone for the Moth. I like it.
Well, he's had his best season by a country mile off this season.
Yeah. He's been beating up on Aaron all season.
He has. He's been, he's clearly the number one driver in that family.
Yep. We make sure we let Aaron know about it every single day.
There's no longer debate to be had there. And I'm sure that's going to light a fire under the belly of Aaron, and hopefully next season he manages to get the power title back.
I think the one that'll have a big race is the Good Doc. It's his last race. Of course, he's not driving next season, so I reckon the Good Doc is just going to go full Doc mode. And we know when he puts his head down, and he's been very quiet this week as well, which tells me he's been practicing. So I reckon he's going to throw everything at it. Brad will definitely have a crack, Troy. 100% agree with that. Stickers, geez, he's found some pace, that guy. Boy, he has just got quicker and quicker and quicker. So definitely watch out for him. Knuckles says, yo. Well, yo.
Cool.
Yep. Solid chat, Knucks. And I suppose Jimmy will go all right. Better give Jimmy a shout out. He's our co-commentator, so... Nah, how you doing? Good doctor, haven't done a lap. That's what I mean. That's the good doctor method. Don't do any laps. And then rock up Sunday and get a podium. That's how he rolls.
Just out of the blue, Scotty, I might put you on the spot here, but what can you tell us about Bez Media?
They've been doing some great work. They've got some cracking videos out at the moment. The productions they put together are really top quality, and to have them on board again next season with CP.
Any sort of idea what the videos are about? I'm sorry, mate, I've got no idea.
He basically does automotive videos of very, very high quality and very top-end machinery. So, if you like the cars that go really fast, you got to go and check it out.
I'm sorry. So Claude's one of the owners at CP.
No. That's the other side.
No, but it's still part of CP, and he's like,
I don't concern myself with that side. Now we could ask Henry the same question, but I think most of the people in S1 are aware of what Henry's been able to organise through Next Level for both CP and now for Sector 1, which is fantastic. But any updates, Henry? Anything in the sort of pipelines that we might not be aware of, or
in the pipeline? Probably more contact with Next Level, so they really want to jump on board with Sector 1. They've seen what we can do. They're happy with what we do. They're using some of our photos on their social media sites now.
Awesome.
So yeah, they wanted to up the ante a little bit. We had the giveaway of the race mat in their community race the other week.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's been delivered by now. I haven't heard. And
Righto.
we do have another one coming up.
Yes.
Are we doing that in the last round?
We will be, yeah.
Yep.
That'll be coming.
Well, that was a secret.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Well, that's actually, you raise a really good point there that I think most of the team owners should be aware, and all of them probably are, and that is just how impressed a lot of these companies and sponsors that we get are with the visual aspect of what we're able to produce. The photography of the cars, the liveries on the cars, they all look at it, and when they see their brand name on the cars, they're blown away by it. And they're pretty keen to use it to share on their social medias and yeah, don't be afraid to share that with your sponsors and help spread the word and get your brand out there. And it's they're pretty open and pretty receptive to it, which is a great thing.
We started off very slowly with Next Level, and it just seems to be slowly taking off.
Well,
And
Sector
big,
1's
big
given
thank
them
you to
enough
Chase
money.
too.
So
Big,
And by the
big
way, I
thanks
get
to,
nothing out of that. Just so.
Chase has gone out and he's actually secured a second sponsor for the Cornerstone side.
Mm-hmm.
So we've actually got 2 liveries this season to represent our 2 major sponsors. So
of course,
Wow, that's news to me.
look out for the reveal in coming weeks.
Right on.
Wow, good to see the lines of communication are really open there in Sector CB headquarters. But yeah, just on that point, look at teams like Dadson Racing with the Bacchus and getting a beer made for the team, which was fantastic. You look at Ragged Edge Racing with the connection with Auto One. Auto One now posting a lot of Ragged Edge's stuff on their site as well, which gets a lot of traffic, which is fantastic. Deeds with Switchblade, they bring out a beer every week and their livery lord has to make a new livery every week, but it's great interaction with that as well. And this is what it's sort of chill out systems with the brand D-Flow's team as well. I saw that post today, which was fantastic as well. So they're really getting on board with that, which is amazing to see. Aussie Hampton, of course, one of the stalwarts, with them off as well, and just things like that. There's a beautiful Aussie Hampton car on screen right now. Things like that just really just take what we do here just that little bit higher level than some of the other stuff that's happening in Australia with GT Sport, and that's why I'm proud to sit on the mic and chuck on the cans and get into it. So yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. So with that, we've covered all that off. We might move into our news of the day. So we had some big news today. So I woke up this morning, grabbed my coffee, sort of had a chat with Hannah, and then jumped on my phone, and Twitter was lighting up, and I was thinking, what's going on here? And the news dropped that Camaro will be on the grid for supercars in 2022.
Holy smokes.
With Gen 3. So, couple little points I want to cover off of this before people get too excited. Supercars have got the IP of Camaro, so that's the intellectual property of Camaro. So it's not actually a fully fledged, General Motors factory team kind of deal. It's basically General Motors have allowed supercars to use the Camaro name, badge plate, and body shape. So that's a really important facet to remember with that. But what is exciting is we've got a Camaro versus Mustang battle, and it brings back sort of memory. Shizer might sort of be able to jump in here as well. Memories of the 60s and the 70s with the Camaro and Mustang battles of
How old do you think I am? Yes, the Bob Jane Camaro and Moff in his Mustang, and going back to the 60s, a little bit before my time, but I'll run with it. We always need, in racing, we need the good guys and the bad guys. So, GM versus Ford, Chev versus Ford, because they're now going to redo the Mustang as well for Gen 3, it's actually going to look like a real Mustang.
And not a squashed up dog turd.
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing I'll say is I reckon it's about 2 seasons too late.
Yeah,
agree with
at
that.
least one
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree with
eh?
that.
100%.
They should have brought the whole project forward quicker because they're discontinuing the Camaro anyway at the end of next year, I think it is.
I think it's a stopgap, the Camaro. That's my gut feel. I'm more excited about the actual just regulations. That's when I sort of the Camaro. I'm like, yeah, that's excited and that, but then the regulations is what got me excited. The fact that all the panels have to fit basically the road car, so
Definitely.
which means they'll resemble a lot more of their road car cousins. The fact that they've reduced downforce, which is a big thing for mine, it'll improve the racing. The fact that they've dropped the weight by 100 kilos, but the engine now is going to produce 600 horsepower. So the power to weight's going to be around the same, but they're going to be 100 millimeter wider, which means they're going to have more contact patch, a more stable platform. But the really interesting thing that I read out of all this, though, is chassis hybrid ready.
Yeah.
That's the one I was sort of reading. Oh, okay. So it's looking like supercars are going to start to embrace hybrid technology, which I think is a very clever move. We see it in Formula One. We see it in prototype racing over in Europe. That hybrid technology is kind of becoming more and more relevant, especially with road cars, but also now with racing. And I think supercars needed to do something like that to keep themselves relevant. Otherwise, you do run the risk of becoming a dinosaur category.
I sort of agree with you, but I think the knuckle draggers who follow V8 Supercar aren't going to love it, because remember when I think it was when they tried to bring in the V6 Turbo, everyone threw their arms up in the air and thought it was going to be the end of the world.
Even going back earlier than that and going back to the Super Tourers.
Yep.
We went with what was going on in the rest of the world, and it just didn't get any traction. So this is what the Aussie public wants. Just feed it to them. I'd leave it out.
I think the biggest thing with that is they've got to keep the noise. Now, I'm all for bringing in V6s. I'm all for bringing in different engine configurations, because what it does, it opens up the category to more manufacturers. You want more manufacturers in motorsport. Like, I get the whole history of Holden versus Ford, red versus blue. You'll see it tomorrow, but as the old saying goes, there's no beige on top of the mountain. But wouldn't it be exciting to see a BMW in there, or a Toyota Supra in there, or
definitely,
100%.
definitely. Remember the stirring of the '90s with the Godzilla against the V8s,
and of course the greatest touring car ever made, the Sierra RS 500 Cosworth.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
It was almost as good as the GTR.
That's right.
Oh, four-wheel drive helps.
It was.
But of course, this has already divided the supercars fans. I jumped on Twitter today and sort of follow a few Twitter accounts, and boy, oh boy, there's some real, some guys that are real scared of change. This is crap. That's we should have bought more Holdens and that. No, that wasn't going to stop Holden closing down. But that's all right. You keep thinking about that. I think it's a really exciting development for the category. I think it's the biggest thing is if it improves the racing, I'm all for it. That's all. At the end of the day, it's a sport, and we want to see the best racing. Brocky says Super is a BMW. Good hit. I like it. But
see, where there's been a change in supercars too is people follow the driver, not the actual car anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there is a difference. They have their favourite driver they follow, not the actual. You could put any driver in any car, and they'll still follow that driver.
Yeah, 100%. If
and that's from a non V8 supercars fan looking in, is it's something to give kudos to them for, because they needed to do that when you have basically non-existent cars racing. That Mustang doesn't exist, the Commodore doesn't exist. What do you focus on? Well, they've managed to make you feel attached to the driver, which is not an easy thing to do. You're not dealing with sporting personalities that are riding. They've got helmets on. You can't even see their faces. Difficult to sort of align yourself with that, but they've managed to do that. This is a step in the right direction. These cars, if they look anything like the ones you got on here, Sean, I can't wait to see them race around the track.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the look of the cars has a lot to do with it, and when everybody looks at that Mustang at the moment, it's just this feeling, But you look at this Camaro, you look at this Mustang, and you just want to see them race. Mm-hmm. So bring it on.
Well, when you look at the current cars at the moment, and the Holden is better looking than the Mustang, and the Holden's not even a Holden, it says a lot.
Not bad for a Peugeot.
It's about that sort of evolution. I mean, the Commodore is the Commodore, but it's been the Commodore for a bloody long time. It looks like these cars might look bigger on track. Am I right in saying that?
So they're going to be 100 mil wider, and they're going to be 100 mil lower as well. So they're going to be wider but taller, or fatness.
I know what you mean.
That's what I was looking for.
Yes, they're going to look beefier on track. Yeah. And as you say, if they sound right, bring it.
So, with that, moving along with that as well, so some other big news dropped today as well with, and it's a really interesting story, this one, with Walkinshaw Andretti United saying they're not committed to the Camaro. Now, they were the first team, if you remember back a couple of years ago, they wanted to homologate the Camaro with the Gen 2 specifications, but of course, King Roland vetoed that. And now, all of a sudden, the Camaro's coming in, and Triple Eight are going to be the ones who homologate it. So, watch this space with WAU. I think I've got a gut feel what they might do, but I don't want to go too early with it. But I reckon, we may see a third manufacturer. Just watch that space, because Kia, you know what? Kia's not actually a silly idea. They're starting to do some racing over in America at the moment. Not too bad. So,
as long as they're competitive.
Yeah. Yes, they do, Chris. They do import and convert all Chevs, but also they race a lot of BMWs over in America as well. And of course, Andretti Autosports is part of the United Autosports Group, which is huge, which is right around the world. They race GT3 cars for Mercedes over in Europe. So it's a really big conglomerate. And with Chaz Mostert getting out of his Schnitzer... Now, that was a mutual agreement because of COVID. But, just watch that space. So I think, we might see some news, which is really cool. Really interested to see how that goes.
And this is all exciting. But what does this mean for S1 moving forward?
Well, until Gran Turismo give us a bloody Camaro that can fit in with the Mustang, absolutely nothing at the moment.
Maybe road cars. The road car version's done up. Have they got? No, they won't have rear spoilers on them, will they?
What we hope, literally, is we get to GT7, and they go, here, have a Mustang Group 4 car, have a Camaro Group 4 car. Bang, job,
and then what happens?
Job done.
It's happening, you reckon?
Oh, it'll happen. And if BMW come in, well, you can just put my bum in one of those right away. Definitely.
Geez, that'd be nice.
So, with that big news, we may as well just move into our chamber of chat. So, the topic of conversation, well, it was a pretty easy one this week. It's probably the first one we haven't really gone, what to do? No, this one was pretty simple. So, we're just basically going to talk about it. It is Bathurst week. But why does Bathurst stir the emotions like no other race? And I might give the first stint over to Scotty.
Cheers. I think it's just because it's so out of reach for the normal person. At least coming from someone with a club motorsport background, it's not a place that you can just go to a race on the weekend and do it. It's once a year. It's the only time you get on there. And that makes it a really special occasion to actually get track time there from a driver's perspective. So for me, it's all about how hard it is to actually get a go. Of course, the track itself is amazing. There's no better track in the world, in my opinion.
Yep. Well, that's very well said.
Mm-hmm.
pretty much nailed that. Shizer, what about for you? Why do you think Bathurst sort of just gets the juices and the emotions and the blood flowing like no other race does?
Yeah, see, I've been watching Bathurst since the 70s. I'm not trying again to show my age. And you just get that feeling, it's just the feel of Bathurst. It's made heroes, it's made legends. People like Peter Brock and Alan Moffat and the Gagan brothers, and you go through all these lists of people, and they just inspire you. And because it is one of the toughest racetracks in the world, I think everyone just has a passion for the place, and it doesn't matter who's come to Bathurst over the years. They drive around the place and go, oh my God, this is a racetrack, and this is like God's country.
Yeah.
It just has that feel to it.
Yeah. And what about you, Claude? I'm waiting.
Well,
Here we go.
again, this has been a tough topic for me to sort of get my head around because I'm a bit of an outsider looking into it, but I keep going back to the track itself. Obviously, over time, history's built up, but when you liken, say, this to the centre court at Wimbledon or the St Andrews Golf Course, or they're just great golf courses, or they're great tennis court stadiums, or in this case, just unique, amazing racetrack. So I get to drive it in GT Sport, and there's no other racetrack like it in the game. And that's the bit that separates it from others. And when you've got an amazing racetrack like that, well, then the history does come, and then the stories and everything that develops over time. And it's just, but to me, it's the track itself, is that every section of the track is unique and has something that needs to be dealt with. And, other tracks, okay, you got past that stage, now it's all good. Now I can cruise for the rest of the lap until I have to deal with that section again. This one's, every section you're dealing with something, and the moment you've cleared that section, you're thinking about the next. And so, yeah, the track itself for me is what creates it and makes it what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with all. They're all great answers. I think. All right. Okay. All right. Let's not get emotional. Yeah, I think for me, there's a couple of things. I think, for one, some years you might not remember who wins the championship, but bloody hell, you remember who wins Bathurst. It's a place that, it's got so many memories, especially for me as a kid. Sort of things were tough when I was growing up, but one weekend I look forward to was getting up at 7 a.m. and hearing that that Channel 7 music, and you knew it was Bathurst Day, and you'd sit on the couch or sit in the chair, and you just cheer on your heroes like Brocky and Moffat and Scaife and Ingle and Perkins and Dickey and Alan Grice and the Chickadee Commodore. These are names that are iconic, not just in Australian motorsport, but Australian sport. Especially one, Peter Brock, who transcended sport in general. Like, he was a real sort of trailblazer in terms of what he did, with the 05 campaign and all that as well, but a really polarising figure as well. You speak to a lot of people, and sort of, there are some people out there that didn't like Brocky. They thought he was a bit of an extrovert, but just an amazing driver as well. And it's just, I love the passion of the fans as well. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is the fans. Like, I can sit there with Lucas and have a great conversation, about motorsport, but as soon as Bathurst comes up, boy, oh boy, it is on for young and old. He talks about, best Scaife moment when he put it in the fence and 30 seconds into the race, and I'm like, well, it took Ford 8 years to finally get one more victory after an 8-year drought. That's that kind of raw tribalism that not many sports have. And it's something that I think that's why, it's, what's the word? I think that's what makes it so unique, that and I watch a lot of motorsport from around the world. You know, I watch Le Mans, I watch GT3 racing, I watch British touring cars. You name it, I'll watch it. But I don't think there is a motorsport race in the world that has that really raw fan tribalism like the race at the mountain. I can't think of one. Formula One, maybe, especially the Italian Grand Prix with the Tifosi. But other than that, I can't think of one. And I think that's what makes it just that little bit special. And the fact it's, to quote Mark Scaife, it's Australia's greatest motor race. It's our grand final.
Which is what makes this next Gen 3 supercar step so important, you know, for them to get it right. And be able to take something which is, you know, you're clearly so passionate about, and you along with thousands of others are passionate about. There's something there. There's something there that needs to be continued. There's something that needs to be harnessed. And if they're switched on, hopefully they get it right. And, you know, 5 years from now, we're talking about the most incredible Bathurst race of all time, you know, and that's really what the goal should be for supercars from here on in, you know.
Let's have a look. So, Brock, I just want to read a couple of comments because there's some really good ones in here. Brocky says it's the history. It's growing up with something that builds sentimentality. You have to be superhuman to make it work for 6 hours. Legends are made, dreams are broken. It's full of emotion. Oh,
okay, we've got to get Brocky in to do the voiceover.
No, listen to that. Wow,
Get him in voiceover.
It's true, though.
It is true. The Moth says, watch Colin Bond win in 1969 and haven't missed a telecast since. Wow. CB says, my grandfather built the 13D HK Monaro that won Bathurst. Wow. That's very cool.
That's special.
Yeah.
What a machine.
Was that the one in Warwick Yellow that Mark Scaife absolutely loves? It's the greatest colour in the world. He'll tell you. I'm pretty sure that's the Warwick Yellow one. Is that the HK? Was that the HK?
Yeah, with the black stripes on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the telecast today. Larko had it.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And I think what also it's funny you say that, you know, about the telecast as well. We're going to go into our moments soon, but you just remember moments at the mountain though, and the first thing that pops in your head, it's not the vision, it's the commentary. Oh, I know for me, I hear a bit of commentary, and Hannah is a standard by because we've had the Bathurst channel on all week, and I hear a bit of commentary. I'm like, oh yeah, that's 2007. Oh yeah, that's 2014. Oh yeah, I remember that race, and I'm not even watching it. It's just little things like that. Brocky, Scaife's dad helped. Yep, why on motors, mate? Yep. Bruce McPhee drove it. Yep, 100%. There you go. And that's what I love, the history of it. It's so cool. It's just really cool history.
Mike Raymond was the best commentator ever. Just throwing it out there.
No, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. In terms of Bathurst,
in terms of Bathurst,
I'll tell you what, I put him first. Many people don't like him, but I love him. I'm going to put Neil Crompton second, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. He worked with him.
Yep. Crompo credits him a lot. Yeah, definitely. Number 3, Doug Mulray.
Doug Mulray, yeah. He was so cheeky.
Yeah. The Daily Platter car. Oh, so many. And a couple of little known, Bruce McAvaney actually hosted a Bathurst. Do you know that?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 1990.
Just didn't sound
How'd he do? How'd he go?
Terrible.
Didn't sound right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brocky missed.
Whenever he said the word V8, it just didn't sound right.
Yeah. Of course, the Channel 10 commentator. Out of those, Lee Diffie, head and shoulders above everyone else. He's a fantastic commentator. He's gone on, of course, to bigger and better things overseas. Matt White, I thought was a little bit, hit or miss. Mark Osler, fantastic. Really knew his stuff too, Osler. Really knew his stuff. But of course, Barry Sheen, 100% Brocky. Barry Sheen was great. And even Daryl Beattie, you know, for a bloke that knows bikes, he's actually pretty good. So, but of course, the best pit lane reporter, there's only two. It is Larko, and it is the beautiful, magnificent Rihanna. The rest you can take and leave it. I really couldn't care. Murph, great driver, terrible commentator. Lowndes, fantastic driver, terrible commentator. But yeah, those two. And it's going to be sad next year because there's talk that Rihanna may not get a gig next season. What are we going to do? Dear, oh dear.
Oh.
Me and Prusky are buggered if that happens. So, yeah, there's so anything, guys in chat, if you've got anything sort of Bathurst things you want to throw out there, please, you know, I'm happy to talk about it. We're all happy to talk. We love the place. But we might move into our top 5 while this is rolling along as well. And because he isn't a big Bathurst fan, we're actually going to give the first stint to Claude.
Oh shit! See, I've just looked at my my notes here, and it says Conor McGregor, John McEnroe, Lou Richards, Brendan Fahab, and Muhammad Ali, which were last week's top 5, and I've got nothing for this one. Look, I don't have a top 5, but look, not being a motorsport fan, the race is still big enough that when, I reckon I would have been maybe 12 years, around that 12, 11 years old, I would sit down that entire Sunday and watch most of the race. I didn't know, I know all the names you mentioned, and I know most of the liveries, I know the cars, I know a little bit about the history, but it was, my thing was tennis and footy and all that sort of thing. Motorsport was a long, distant last, but it was still big enough that I'd sit down for the entire day and watch it from start to finish on that day, and probably did it about 3 times, I reckon, from age 12 to 15. So that's my number one Bathurst memory. I've watched a bit of it since the S1 and the Thrill House sort of getting back into racing thing. But that just the one memory for me.
Awesome. Well, as he jumps into the pit lane, we're going to move over to the second stint. We're actually going to give this one to ScottyG, and I actually love this top 5. This is fantastic. So it's all yours, sir.
Well, in number 5, I wanted to start off with the 2006 Bathurst 1000. That year, it was the year that Brocky died, so they just renamed the trophy to the Peter Brock Trophy. And watching the emotion from pre-race to post-race, the whole thing was just, it was a roller coaster, and it really was like a hero's performance from a sports movie. For Craig to get up and win Brocky's trophy in his shadow, that was it really was a fairy tale. And to see the emotion that he possessed through that whole weekend was just it's the sort of performance that we all dream of putting in as a kid.
Hollywood-esque.
It really was. Number 4 for me was the 92 1000. My parents had a Skyline GDS Series 1, the R31, so I was quite happy to have the R32 be a dominant car back in the day, and was cheering for them from the start. There's actually 2 big storms hit that day. Of course, only the last one really makes the papers these days, that red flagged the event. But it was a very high attrition rate throughout the race, and for the GDR to come out and win its last race after a very dominant season, and the way that Jim handled the crowd will be remembered forever. And I'll always respect him for that, because in the face of so much adversity, he kept his cool and he stood by his word and stood his ground.
He was still dignified, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'll just add, can I add a little thing to that?
Yep.
Wasn't it funny though, 10 years later when he teamed up with Scaife and they won again at Bathurst, you're all a pack of very lovely people.
Yeah, and mad respect for both of them. Scaife's drive in that particular race was amazing. That their pace was just outstanding throughout the whole weekend. So, number 3 for me was Seaton's Skyline Dance.
Oh.
It's probably my first memory of Bathurst as a kid. sitting there and watching him slide this car over the top of the mountain and then round the outside of cars over Skyline. It was amazing to watch the car control, and he never looked panicked or anything like that. The commentators were quivering.
Except Mike Raymond. He's all right. He's one of the good old boys of go-karting.
He's the go-karting boy, yeah. And yeah, just how effortless and how in touch he was. That was sort of very inspirational to watch that, and just to have that finesse and just complete lack of fear.
YouTube it, guys. YouTube it.
I'm onto it right now.
YouTube it. It's amazing.
Cracking bit of footage, yeah.
Wow. Can't see a goddamn thing.
Yeah. Number 2 was a really big one for me. Back in late 90s, it was for the AMP 1000, so the Super Tourers.
Yep.
The Austin Healey clubs got together and formed a category to run as a support. And my parents have been racing Healeys since before I was born, and still do. And the big push was on to get a whole bunch of these club level races to an international level, because you had to have an international license to run at Bathurst, and all these people just had normal CAMS licenses like all the club races. So to watch them come together as a community and build each other up to get to the mountain, and to have watched my mum go through all the highs and lows of racing throughout her whole career, from winning trophies and everything like that to dealing with the pigs that are out there. To see the drive and commitment that she put in to not only get herself there, but to encourage others to get up, have a go, get involved, and get on the track was massive for me, and was a huge motivation for me to chase my dreams as well.
That's very cool.
Because it was always a sort of impossible dream that I'd never race at Bathurst. I'm never going to be that good. Never going to have enough money to do it. But that drive and determination that I got from her leads to number 1, which is actually getting to drive there myself. Newline ran a club championship.
You drove the track?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I had got the helmet on and got to have a bit of a go.
A bit of a go.
Yeah. It was a hill climb event, so you get to do half the track at a time.
Mm-hmm.
The good half, or
not the whole track in one go.
The good half.
We did the uphill and the chase. I didn't get to do the S's.
Right.
But it only takes one corner at Bathurst to just absolutely melt your mind. I worked my way up from doing motorcarners, but actually won the motorcarner national championship a couple of years prior. And when the Newline Nationals involved a motorcarner in their championship, the club president came to me and said, "Do you want to have a go?" I said, "Yeah, no worries." 3 years later, I'm captain of the team, and got to pick the team that drove at Bathurst. So my name was the first on the list.
And just the one go, or multiple goes at it?
Oh, it was a 2-day event.
Okay.
Newline put us up at, they hired the whole track for 2 days. Put us all up in ridges for the weekend.
Yep.
And we did a big party up on the top floor of ridges on the Saturday night, which was pretty wild. Like just the whole experience was out of this world. Every run that I got, I thought, should have gone harder. There was more in that. Why'd I lift, but those walls are pretty imposing when you're a little MX-5, so it was...
So is that the one thing that stands out at you, is the walls, the proximity of the walls, or is it more the gradient of the rises and the dips, or...
Looking back at it now, it's more the safety it sort of gives you, which is bizarre because when you first go there, you're intimidated by it. But after every run, you think, there's a bit more in that.
Time in it.
There's a bit more.
Yeah.
There's a bit more. I could go a bit harder there. I don't need to lift there. Coming into Griffins and just giving it a little bit of a lift, feathering the throttle and then going flat at it again, takes a lot of, guts. To break and downshift and go into it feels normal. And then you get to the exit and you're like, I'm too slow.
Yeah. I wish.
So after every run,
Wish I hadn't.
I'd be kicking myself that, come on, you got to give this a really good go. But I didn't put it in the fence and came home with a clean car and didn't come last. I had the smallest engine on the day, on the weekend. And we didn't finish last. Put on a good show. Made the news, local news up there. So got a bit of TV time. So
Awesome.
It was such a great experience, and it just shows that going from an entry-level $30 motor car, you could end up driving at Bathurst. But you've got to get off the couch. You've got to stop making those excuses. Get out there and give it a go.
Yeah.
And anyone
It's a
out
great
there who
story.
wants to, anyone out there who wants to
Fantastic.
give it a go, my inbox is always open.
Awesome.
So if you want to get out there and get involved, there's no excuse. You can do it in a Mazda 121 at a $30 event.
There you go, Gaz. Get in touch, mate.
Rocky,
You never
Go
know.
out there and show them how to do it in the real world.
that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Drop that lap that makes the rest of the girl go, what?
Where'd that come from? Who's this guy? That's a great top five. Love it.
Absolutely.
All right, so he's come to the pits now. We're going to hand it over to Shizer.
Hey, I was a bit disappointed. You only gave me 5. I could actually, I could actually drop 50 on you right now
yeah.
because I've been around for a while. I've got some honourable mentions at the end. My number 5 was the 1977 Bathurst, Moffat and Bond 1 and 2, in the hulking XC 2-door coupe. Just to me, and I remember watching this, and I was a kid at the time, I remember the two cars coming down Conrod Straight on the last lap, and you've got 1 and 2, and it just made you feel something. It's like you're watching something really special.
Epic.
And I know that they did pull some other 1-2s off during the season, but to do it at Bathurst, in basically a production car, was just awesome back in 1977. And being a closet Alan Moffat fan at the time, after watching him in 73 and all the rest of it, it was just an awesome feeling for me. My number 4, 1994. Bathurst 1994 was the first year a young guy by the name of Craig Lowndes made an appearance at Bathurst. Accidentally, as happens. He wasn't actually even supposed to be racing then. He was filling in for somebody else that was missing. And I remember a move going up to Griffin's Bend on the then leader of the race, and a man that harder to pass than a kidney stone, which was John Bowe. And he went around the outside at Griffin's and made a legend of himself. But as it sort of, and watching it live, it's like, who is this kid and how can he possibly be doing what he's doing? And it wasn't until years later that I actually found out it was a mistake.
It was, yeah.
He didn't actually mean to do it. But he became a bit of a legend after that. And as we know, 7 Bathurst wins later.
Of course,
the man himself
Marcos's commentary. This kid is dynamite.
Yeah, we'll be back on this Sunday. So look about 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and that's about Lowndes territory. So see how he's tracking along. My number 3, Lap of the Gods. Throwing it out there. Not a Murphy fan, but what he did on that day in the top 10 shootout was beyond belief. and it just stopped everybody in the pits. And I mean, again, it was like watching something special happen. And Bathurst is one of those places where special things happen, and on that day, again, something special happened. And I remember watching the telecast and then watching Murphy come down pit lane the wrong way, and everybody from every team was just outside applauding what he just did. And again, he admitted he made a mistake. So the car actually had more in it. He went on to win the race, but we won't get into that. Like I said, not a Murphy fan, but what he did on that day is just outstanding for me. My number 2, 1979. The legend, the man, the god, Peter Brock himself, wins Bathurst by 6 laps. And set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap as he's waving at the crowd.
One hand on the door sill.
Yep. Absolutely unheard of. I mean, 77 is where it sort of started when Holden got spanked. He came back in 78 and won with Jim Richards. Came back in 79 and absolutely spanked everybody out of control, winning by 6 laps and setting the fastest lap on the last lap. I mean, that is just, for me, it was just, oh my God, this guy is just
domination.
Unbelievable. And he went on to win many Bathursts after that. And it was every year. Bathurst, oh my God, Brock's going to win.
Yeah.
And by how much? So that's my number 2. And my number 1, and this is an emotional one, 2006. I know Scotty had it as his number 5.
Don't worry.
But for
So
me, being a Brock supporter, being a Lowndes supporter, and this was just after the passing of the great man himself, and I remember the week leading into Bathurst, and Craig being consoled by Bev Brock, because Craig got to drive the XU1 Tirana that Peter won Bathurst in 1972, and just the emotion around that whole week leading up to the race. And yes, it was the first Peter Brock trophy, and you know, and I have a photo somewhere here with a very young Peter Brock standing next to one of the Holden Racing Team Commodores with Peter Brock and Craig Lowndes standing right beside it, and you would swear they were father and son. Just looking at the two of them standing there, you know, ready to go out and do battle. And to me, that was just the most moving Bathurst for me, but emotionally, like I said, because I was a Brock fan.
Yeah, he 100% agree with that.
It's well, it's pretty clear in it. Any sort of sport that manages to connect people to it on an emotional level is where the success lies. You know, when people are actually moved in that way with a result or an incident or whatever it might be. It's just, and you're so fully invested into it. You know, you've got a good product there, don't you? And there's no doubt that Supercars has been able to do that. And Bathurst, in particular, has been able to do that.
100% agree there. Well, Shizer's come in on lap 134, and it's time to hand it over to the 2-time to bring it home.
What do you got, man?
All right. So, my Bathurst moments. This is easily the hardest top 5 list I've had to do. It's not a... Yeah, this was so difficult.
Have we got graphics?
Of course we got
You're
graphics.
like me. It would be a top 1.
Oh, yeah.
Bathurst moments.
Number 5 is the 2007 finish of the race. So it was a pretty standard sort of race, and then about lap 135, Bathurst did its normal thing and opened. The clouds opened and dumped a bucket load of rain up there. Mark Winterbottom decided that driving a motor car was boring, and he decided to become a motocross racer as he flew through the chase. Scaife went off, everyone went off, there was crashes everywhere, and of course it led to one of Neil Crompton's most famous lines, "The race has gone off." Just a crazy 10-minute period that Bathurst throws up. Of course, it was in the middle of the AAA dominance in the Falcon when they went on to do the 3P. But yeah, just literally the race turned on in the blink of an eye, and it's just one of the craziest moments in Bathurst I can ever remember. And that bit of commentary sticks to me to this day. Oh, and that a scene of Frosty going through the chase and how he didn't clean up that Triple A car, I to this day still don't know. Yeah, just a really crazy moment at Bathurst, and it's one that just sticks with me because you watched it live and you're thinking, what is going on at this joint? Yeah, everything just went nuts. 1987, when the world came to Bathurst. So in 1987, this is my first Bathurst that I actually remember as a kid. And it was part of the ill-fated FIA World Touring Car Championship, which only lasted 1 year because cheating was rife. And
Who put the sauce on the egg and burger?
yeah. So you had M3s with dodgy panels. You had Sierras with widened wheel arches. There was talk of dodgy fuel and all sorts of drama.
Right.
And then, of course, they came to Bathurst as one of the rounds. Now, it all just was a pretty normal race. The Edinburgh Sierras were dominating. They, to this day, I love the Sierras and I love the Edinburgh Sierras. But it got sort of, again, that sort of that 110, 120 mark, which always seems to happen at Bathurst. And it absolutely bucketed down. Now, this, of course, was pre-sort of safety that it is now. And, of course, this was the first time in Bathurst history that they used a safety car. And there's cars passing the safety car left and right. No one knows what's going on. Like, everyone's completely oblivious. There's cars going off at the top of the mountain. There was a massive crash at the top of the mountain. I think it was Johnny Cicotto's BMW slammed into the wall, and then Fangio's BMW slammed into the wall. Of course, remember that famous scene of Neil Cropton in his red jacket. It's freezing down here. Peter Brock came in. So Peter Brock was sort of struggling. His 05 car, unfortunately, they had to retire. But that was the rule back then. They had that rule where you could cross-enter. So he jumped in the number 10 car and did one of the greatest bits of driving I've ever seen at the mountain. On slick tyres, on a greasy Bathurst, YouTube it. He is sideways everywhere and just some of the best car control I've ever seen in my life. Just a brilliant bit of driving, and it just really solidified that PB legend. The Edinburgh Sierras went 1-2, but 3 months later, they were disqualified for 2 dodgy wheel arches was the actual thing, and Peter Brock got his 9th and last Bathurst win. Number 3 is 2014. Quite simply, the craziest race I've ever seen at Bathurst. Where do we start? So everything was normal, but this track had just been resurfaced that year, and Griffiths Bend was starting to break up a little bit. And didn't think it was a big issue, but then car after car fired into the fence at Griffiths Bend. And it's the first time that the race was red flagged during the race, and it wasn't the end of the race. And of course, then there was the controversy: can we fix the cars? Can we not fix the cars? No one knew what was going on. Triple Eight, of course, Roland Dame, got the guys on the tools, and so everyone thought, well, if Roland's doing it, we all may as well do it. So the race scene got underway, but it wasn't the end of the drama. It was the total of 10 safety cars that race. It was absolutely unbelievable, and probably the most epic finish we have ever seen. We all remember it. So Wingcup's in the lead. 3 laps to go. He's been told by Duddo and Couchy, fuel save. We need fuel save. Jamie, fuel save maximum. Jamie, fuel save 100. And Jamie's completely oblivious, just driving flat out, as Jamie does. And then it got to the point, and Chaz Moster's behind. Now, Chaz hadn't led a lap all day. He's had a shocking day, but somehow he's in second, and he's about to win Australia's greatest motor race. And they get to the elbow, and Chaz gives him a little nudge, and Neil Crompton completely loses his mind. And Chaz goes up the inside and takes the win, and of course, Wingcup ran out of fuel. But the image I remember the most is the camera cutting to Paul Dumbrell. That guy, seriously, he must go to the mountain and think, that back in that era, he must go to the mountain and think, I'm teaming up with J-Dub. What's he going to do this time? Of course, J-Dub's had a couple of controversies, passing safety cars when the lights are on, missing pit stops, the redress has caused that. I could go on. Now, I've got 2 equal number ones. I sat here long and...
Can't do it. Can't be done.
I can do whatever I like. It's my turn. It's virtually...
This is your 1.5.
Yeah, this is virtually impossible to separate these two. So, 2006, everything about that day, actually the 2 weeks leading up to it, I actually worked across the road from St. Paul's, where Brocky's funeral was at. And I got to break it. I said to my boss, I said, look, I'm going to Brocky's funeral. And I went across and stood in the crowd and heard Crompo's speech and absolutely turned into a blubbering mess. That was the impact that Peter Brock... He wasn't my favourite driver, but that's still the impact he had on especially motor racing fans. And then we got to the actual day, and of course, the day before, Mark Porter had that horrific accident at the top of the mountain. And unfortunately, Mark Porter lost his life, and it was just turning into... I was having really bad memories of 1994 San Marino Grand Prix again. I'm thinking, here we go again, you know. You know, we lost Roland Ratzenberger, and then we lost the great Ayrton Senna. And I was just praying, you know, on the Sunday, please, you know, let everything be all right. And, of course, they had that fantastic tribute with all Brock's cars going up the mountain, which was really, really special to watch, and seeing Craig, you know, choke up and thinking, how's this bloke going to drive? Like, seriously. And I think that opening stint is what he needed, to be just thrown in the fight, you know, cars going at each other. You know, of course, I was a Skate fan, so I was hoping, you know, with PB's affiliation with the Holden Racing team and the Holden dealer team, that Skate would actually nail it. And, of course, we all know what happened. Skate's day's done, 30 seconds into the race. But that's when I think this is also the race where I feel that, one, Jamie Whincup really put himself on the map, and everyone sort of went, okay, this bloke can drive. But also, people then started to take Triple Eight very seriously as a race team. And it just solidified the Lowndes legend. It was, it's such a weird race to think about, because it's so sad on one hand, but it's so emotional and joyful on the other. It's really both.
The sort of races that make motorsport what motorsport is.
100%. And of course, 2003, I actually include the whole lot. I call it perfection from Murphy and Kelly. They were not going to be beaten that week. No one was going to touch them. As soon as they rolled that Kmart Commodore out, it was fast. And of course, we got to the top 10 shootout, and like Shizer said, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on a racetrack. The commentary, everything about it's perfect. The commentary, the day, the actual weather, the lap, the reaction from the crowd, the reaction from Murphy. I quote the commentary to this day. Check out the split. It's awesome. Just absolutely amazing. And then, of course, you know, the whole pit lane applauding and that, which you just don't see at Bathurst. You just don't see that. And then, of course, come race day, they were never going to be touched. Never going to be touched. And they weren't, really. You look at the car at the end of the race, there's not a mark on it. And that was the day, of course, young Kelly became the youngest ever winner of the Bathurst 1000 as well. Probably the most perfect Bathurst weekend I think he can have. And that's why, for me, it's right. And I'm a Murph fan. I love his driving style. And, his reaction and just, to me, it's perfection.
An eagle first. Guys, can I just ask, after today's happenings at Bathurst, who's winning this year? What's happening?
For me,
it's a bit early
to tell, but I tell you what,
What's your gut saying?
Cam Waters and Will Davidson are looking very, very strong.
Very racy.
you know, the co-driver session today, Davo was the quickest, 100%. That's what happens when you're dating Rihanna. Definitely gives you an extra 10 till 5. But he's had such a tough season as well, so I'm really rooting for Davo. I really hope he can get on.
Let's put a call out here. We've got a next level mat to give away, and I want to thank the guys that are still listening to us crap on, because that's what we've been doing. Thanks, guys. So anybody in chat, if you can pick the winner of this weekend's race, there's a next level mat to be won. So pop them in the chat now and let us know who you think.
No, let's make it a little more challenging, because if 5 people pick the winner, then it's a lot harder to decide. I want pole sitter and winner.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense to me. Yes.
So for me, it'll be Scott McLaughlin on pole, and I think.
Type it in the chat.
No, I'm not entering. I'm not entering because that's just it's not fair.
Good on you, Sean.
Scott McLaughlin on pole, and as much as I said, I think Lowndes can get number 8 with J-Dub.
I'm backing Ghost. I can't enter either. But I'm backing Ghost. I reckon McLaughlin on pole, and I reckon Lowndes is due. Lowndes is due for number 8.
Just to put in that clear second, because Richo's on 7, as well as Craig.
Yeah, I think Scotty will have the pace in qualifying. Yep. But I think SVG might be due.
Oh yeah, with GT, yeah.
I just think that he's threatened so much, and I think it could be his time.
As long as GT doesn't punt someone off.
Yeah, well.
I love GT, but I've got to say it.
McLaughlin pole by CB. Waters win Lowndes. Okay. Righto, Rocky.
Oh, so pole to Borders, win to Lowndes. Nice one from the Cyborg. Come on, Lucas. I know you're out there. He's trying to think of how can I afford this.
That's why I brought it up. I saw he was here.
How can I afford this up as much as possible? CB says Paul McLaughlin, race SVG.
That's a pretty smart choice, huh?
No, this guy. I want to see someone go with an out there pick. I want to see someone go, oh, you know what, I'm going to throw.
Left of field.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that's going to have to be me.
For a podium.
What was that, sorry?
Per cat for a podium.
Yeah, I like that.
Where can I find today's practice time?
Supercars.com.au.
That probably makes sense.
Scotty, here he is, the good docs. Says Scott for pole, Cam for the win, or the reverse. Oh, wow, talk about sitting on the fence. Yeah, complete forward there. Yep, nice. So while guys are typing in, just remember coming up on Saturday night. So we are live Saturday night at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So pretty much after the shootout. So you'll be able to rest up for a little bit, grab yourself a cold bevo if you're not racing, and join in for our last round, which is going to be very exciting. Don't choke on your Coca-Cola, you idiot. Dadson says, Paul Reynolds, win Waters. Ooh, that is out there, because I'll tell you what, Davey's got some work today to do after today's times. They're struggling, Erebus. Have you noticed that? Especially Davey just seems nowhere. CB's gone for the full podium here, this guy. So he's got SVG first, Mostert second, third, Cam Waters. Ooh, imagine if Mostert and Cam Waters are fighting each other with 2 laps to go.
Into chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're second and third, one of them's in the fence.
Yep.
There's no way around that.
What I want, though, actually, truly, is one, a great race, but I want a classic commentary performance from Crompo and Scafie. Like, I want all the Scafisms. Right out sideways. Benchmark operator. Brock-esque. Oh, that's dodgem. Yeah, dodgem car stuff.
Yeah, on that note, with the top 5...
Good luck with that, CB, man. Was it CB that's had the eye surgery? No, hang on. Yeah.
Yeah, CB had surgery on my eye today, but should be racing at my 110. Oh, well, all the best, man. Welcome to the fan club.
Bloody oath.
Go ahead, sorry. That was Scotty. Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Sorry, Scotty.
Just on that note, with the commentary, the lap of the gods. I think it was a good lap, but the coverage was just absolutely out of this world. The way it built throughout the lap. I don't think anyone will ever be able to sort of emulate that to that level with the genuine excitement that Crompton was really showing throughout that. And that
adds,
I think,
for sure.
Yeah, and I think the actual telecast of that took it from a great result to a legendary performance just from the telecast. Because he was always the quickest thing. He was always going to be on pole.
No, and I think if you think back
he was
to
always way quicker.
Yeah,
but the way that they built that.
Any sporting moment that's been caught on camera, you're probably not aware of it, but the commentary's probably adding to it, isn't it?
Yeah,
I never thought of it that way before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In many ways, it's the commentary that takes it to legendary status.
Yeah.
The way that it's built up and the way that makes you feel. And that's why the Lap of the Gods, it gets you tingly every time you watch it. Because everyone's seen a clean lap.
Or you listen to bloody Gary Hall Jr. versus...
Thorpe! Oh! Thorpe!
Oh, man, doesn't that just get you going? Fuck.
Yeah, the
Valid
commentators
point.
made the Lap of the Gods, because when you think about it, like Scotty McLaughlin's 203, there was no huge hype over that. Yet when Murphy went 206, they just hyped it up so much, and it just got everybody excited.
I think it was also what hyped it up so much as well is because 207s were the norm. Well, not the norm, but that was considered pretty quick. And for Greg to literally smash it by nearly a second, I think that's
really
what.
Take it up a level.
Yeah, everyone was sort of like, and I think it's why it's so revered. Also, it took so long for it to be beaten. That's the big thing. Is like, okay, it's taken this on race cars 9 times out of 10 normally get faster through the years.
Did I see him clock 205s today?
Yeah.
Or am I tripping?
Oh no, 204s. They're on the force.
204s, right.
Yeah.
I do love Cam Waters. He goes, did a 204.6 or something. He goes, oh, that lap was shit. Yeah, all right. Here we go. I've got a couple of things here I just want to read out. The fan club says, evening all, work night, so no drinking. Wow, the fan club's not drinking? What's going on there?
Boring.
Not much to say now. If you had a top 5 NASCAR races, wouldn't have shut us up. Brocky says, Coulthard DNF. Coulthard to hit Debris and DNF. Karma. Wow. Coulthard to do another barrel roll at the chase. Wow, he's really well liked, this guy. Softest race car driver ever. So not many guys are entering, but we might put that competition actually into Discord. I'll get the Sandman to put that in.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yep. That's okay.
So just put in the main lounge as well, so everyone can sort of enter as well, which is only fair.
What time does the race start?
I think it's a later start this year, isn't it? Isn't it 11 or 12?
Just want to make sure I put it up before the race starts. That's all.
Yeah, late start with a time certain finish.
Of course, yeah, classic supercars, biggest race all year. They'll find some way to squeeze that time certain finish in.
Mate, we've got to rerun a Cheers that we've really got to get to.
Yeah, because everybody knows your name. Actually, that might lead on to another top 5 I want to do. So I want to do top 5 sitcoms.
Ooh.
Yeah, so... Brocky says 11, I think. Look, we'll just say 10 o'clock in the morning just to be safe. Cover all bases. I'll be up pretty early. I've got doing a bit of a sneak and get me good mate over. So we're going to get, to quote good old Dan Andrews, going to get on the beers. But that is not the reason we're streaming Saturday night, guys. Don't believe that for a second. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So we might actually finish it up. This has been the longest Microsector we've ever had. I knew it would be.
Yeah.
So a big thank you goes to our fantastic special guest this evening. So a big thank you to Scotty and Shizer.
100. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for having
boys.
us.
Thanks to Claude. He did all right.
No worries, mate.
Not bad.
Always
Not
good.
a bad effort.
Thanks, mate.
Be sure to join us on Saturday night. Massive thank you goes to all our viewers again. You guys are amazing. Oh, Jesus. Next week we are having another Microsector, so it'll be the big end of season special, and then we might have a break, a very small break, just to reload. Just before we go, I just want to read a couple more things out there. 11:30 race start from Brocky. That is confirmed. Thank you, Brocky.
Thanks, Brocky.
The fan club says have to include Dick Johnson and The Rock. You know what? That was probably number 6 on most people's list, I reckon. It's definitely up there. But sure to join us from Saturday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for Group B, Round 8, for the final time, the final race of Sector 1 season. That's going to be a lot of fun. But other than that, enjoy the rest of this evening. Enjoy qualifying. Enjoy the top 10 shootout. Enjoy Friday at Bathurst. Of course, the Friday qualifying session, as Scafey says, the best session of the year. I'm really looking forward to this one. But get around it. I am Sean Ghostbeller, signing off for now, and you've been watching The Microsector.